Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we shall be casting our ever-critical eye over another Imperial Guard 10th edition Codex datasheet. This time, we are going to be deep diving the Catachan command squads, the Gigachads of the Officer Corps. Memes aside, this is actually a really good unit because it opens up a lot of options for Catachan blobs and solves a lot of their traditional problems. And so without further ado, let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing.
Let's rock!
As is tradition, let us have a cheeky gander at that stat line. Now, if you have seen the stat line for some of the other command squads, like the Krieg and the Cadian command squad, this is going to look very familiar to you. The Catachan commander, who is the officer leading the unit, has a movement of 6, toughness 3, save 5+, 3 wounds, leadership 7, and objective control of 1. Essentially, he has a normal guardsman profile, but he has got 3 wounds rather than 1, and he's got objective control of 1 rather than 2. The veteran guardsmen that accompany him, and he does have 4 of them, as you can see in the unit composition. You get 1 Catachan commander and 4 veteran guardsmen. Each have a movement of 6, toughness 3, 5 up save, 1 wound, leadership 7, OC 1. They're basically got the same stat line as him. One thing that newer players sometimes mix up is they think that the 4 veteran guardsmen all have like the same shared stat line, aka 4 models have got 1 wound. That's not the case. To make something absolutely clear, each veteran guardsman gets this stat line. So each veteran guardsman has 1 wound. So in total, this unit is going to have 7 wounds. 4 from the veteran guardsman and 1 from the Catachan commander. It might seem obvious that's how it works, but we've got a lot of new players joining the guard recently, and it's a mistake that I often see made. It's a very easy one to make if you're not used to reading 40k data sheets, so I just thought I'd take a minute to point it out, and hopefully that'll help a few people catch that mistake. Now let's be real here for a moment. This is not a very impressive stat line. Guard commanders are not like Space Marine commanders or the commanders of a lot of other factions. They are not there to tank damage, and they're not even there to do a huge amount of damage. You'll see with the war gear later on that they can bring some punch, but you're not going to be dueling bloodthirsters in combat. You're not going to be able to take on, well, even Space Marine lieutenants in combat, really. Guard officers are there to act as force multipliers. They are there to improve the units that they lead and to add a little bit of extra firepower into your army. That's it. Don't expect them to tank very much. Don't expect them to individually do very much. But with that covered, let's get into the weapons that you can give this squad. Each Catachan command squad comes with a Catachan commander and 4 veteran guardsmen, as we covered. And each Catachan commander starts with the las pistol and close combat weapon, and each veteran guardsman comes with the las gun, las pistol, and close combat weapon. First thing you're going to notice about the Catachan command squad in comparison to things like the Krieg command squad and the Cadian command squad is you have a lot more flexibility when it comes to picking war gear. In the Krieg command squad and the Cadian command squad, you've got people who have got fixed loadouts, dedicated roles. You can't change that. Like, for example, in the Krieg one, the banner guy has to be the banner guy. In the Cadian one, you've got a little bit more flexibility. The banner guy can swap out his banner for a special weapon, but you've still got the guy that has to take the Master Vox, and you've still got the guy that has to take the Medipack. Catachans aren't like that. Catachans bring whatever they need to get the job done. It's actually a really big deal. It shouldn't be overlooked because it makes them very tailorable. So, as we'll see in a moment, you may not need the Master Vox. If your Catachan blob is being led by a Catachan command squad, and that command squad is only really intending to do orders to that blob, then don't take the Master Vox. Instead, take something else. It actually does make a big difference, and it's one of the biggest hidden strengths of the Catachan command squad. But now let's look at those options in more detail. First up, any number of veteran guardsmen. So yes, all 4 of them can swap out their lance gun for a special weapon. You can go for a flamer, a grenade launcher, a heavy flamer, a melter gun, a plasma gun, or a sniper rifle. The only qualifying bit of text is this asterisk here, which says you cannot select the same weapon from this list more than once per unit. So sadly, you can't put 4 melter guns in. In editions gone by, that was an option, but in 10th edition, with this codex, no bueno. You've also got the option for 1 guardsman with a las gun to take a Master Vox, 1 guardsman with a las gun to take a Medipack, and 1 guardsman with a las gun to take a Regimental Standard. Now, before any of you think you are super geniuses, and you're like, well, it just says las gun, right? So I can give all 3 of those options to 1 guy. Goddamn GW have spoiled your fun, because they've put a double asterisk on the end of each one of these options, and that relates to this qualifying bit of text, which says a model can only take 1 of these options. I know, boo hiss, boo hiss. It would be great to have had like 1 guy just stacked up with 3 bits of equipment. Unfortunately, it's not an option. Now, each one of these bits of specialist equipment is going to unlock a war gear ability, but we'll be diving into those later on, so don't worry about those for now. We've also got the Catachan commander, who can swap out his crappy las pistol and chainsword for a plasma pistol and a power fist. You've got a load of other options, but trust me, the best option is plasma pistol and power fist every single time. If you want to have a little look at what each one of these weapon options does, GW has handily provided the table of weapons here. And you can see, like, chainsword is like 4 attacks. Like, oh, that's not a bad number of attacks. But strength 3, AP 0, damage 1 means it's never going to do anything. You give up 1 of those attacks, just 1. And with the power fist, you double your strength, you actually get some AP, and you double your damage. There's literally no reason not to go with the power fist every single time. Likewise, if we look at the plasma pistol versus like the las pistol and the bolt pistol, you can see like the las pistol is like 1 strength 3 shot. Okay? Plasma pistol, if you overcharge it, it's strength 8. It's literally more than double. It's almost 3 times the strength. And it's actually got AP and it does double damage. So the reason why these are even options is because of essentially legacy models. In previous editions, you had to pay points for things like the plasma pistol and the power fist. Now, all war gear is free. You just pick whichever option you want. You pretty much pick the best option every time. And in this case, with the officer, it's the plasma pistol, it's the power fist. Now that covers the officer, but what about the loadout for the rest of the unit? Because for each one of these bits of specialist equipment that you're taking, you can't then take a special weapon. So where's the balance? Do we go for more special weapons? Do we go for more specialist equipment? In my opinion, I think you leave the regimental standard at home. I know a lot of people love their flags. I don't think you need it here. Because you've got to think about what is this Catachan command squad going to be leading? Catachan jungle fighters. Now, jungle fighters have got objective control of 2 base. So on a big 20-man blob, that's 40 OC. With this command squad added in, that's 45 objective control. That is more than enough to sneak an objective away from an enemy. You could be down to less than half of your blokes, and you've still probably got more OC than an enemy unit. So I'd leave the standard at home. I also don't think you need the Master Vox. This officer can only issue 1 order. He's going to be leading the thing that he's going to be issuing the order to. Why would you need the Master Vox to issue an order 24 inches away when you're part of the squad? You don't need it. So leave the Master Vox at home. I would definitely take the Medipack every single time. The Medipack, as we'll see, lets you regenerate guys back into the squad. That then means you've got options for 3 special weapons. I would go plasma gun, melter gun, and grenade launcher. So overall, my recommended loadout for a Catachan command squad leading a big blob of 20 Catachans is the officer with plasma pistol and power fist, 1 man with a las gun and a medipack, 1 man with a plasma gun, 1 man with a melter gun, 1 man with a grenade launcher. So that covers weapons, but let's get into abilities and war gear abilities. First things first, we've got Scouts 6 inches. I love scouts. If any of you have seen my Catachan video or my engineer video, I will wax lyrical about scouts again and again and again. It's such a strong ability. Long story short, scouts can get you to move forward quickly. You can start closing the distance. You can start putting pressure on the enemy early on, or you can use it defensively where you start out exposed, then you scout 6 inches, maybe sideways or behind some kind of L-shaped room, some kind of cover. Scouts is a very good ability to be used offensively or defensively. It's one of the best abilities in the game. It's an ability that a lot of newer players completely overlook because they think, oh, it's only a 6-inch move, but movement wins games. Scouts is very good. And the best bit about it, in this case, is scout 6 inches. Means that when you join a Catachan squad, you also have scouts. The whole unit gets to scout. See, what used to happen in the index was you would have a blob of Catachans who had scout 6 inches, and then you would have a platoon command squad, as it was called back then, which didn't have scout. That meant that you added a non-scout unit to a scout unit, and that meant no one could scout, because that's how it worked. Everyone has to have the scout ability for the unit to scout. I said scout 2 times, it's starting to sound a bit weird now. The point is, scouts in general is very good offensively and defensively, and specifically for your Catachans, it now means that you can have a whole blob plus their command squad, that's 25 infantry, just scouting forward, and that's a really, really powerful thing to have. Early objective play, early screening play, early pressure on the enemy. Scouts is great. We've also got the faction ability, Voice of Command. That just refers to your officer's ability to do orders. He can do one order. He's probably, like we said, going to order the unit he is leading. The big one with Catachan command squads is the Gung Ho command ability. This is the unique ability. This is what separates them from all of the data sheets and all of the command squads. While this unit contains an officer, ranged weapons equipped by models in this unit have the assault ability. This applies not only to the command squad itself, but also the big 20-man blob of Catachans he could be leading. A lot of assault weapons. That's 4 assault flamers in the Catachan squad. That's a whole bunch of assault lasguns. That's an assault melter gun, plasma gun, and grenade launcher, and plasma pistol. Assault doesn't mean that you can advance and throw grenades, sadly, and it doesn't mean you can advance and do actions, sadly. But let's look at what it does let you do. You could scout 6 inches forward. You could then order your unit to move, so that they have a 9-inch move. That's a 15-inch move. Then you can advance an average of 3 to 4 inches. This unit can go 18 to 19 inches on average and still shoot all of their weapons. That is more than enough distance to start getting angles on the enemy. That's more than enough distance to start getting onto those primary objectives. In fact, probably advancing past the primary objectives, screening your opponent out, pushing them back. Catachan Jail is very much a possibility thanks to the Catachan command squad. And you've got to think, how big is a 25-man squad when they're all fully strung out? That could move block a lot of people very, very early on in the game. You've also got to think about how this could pair with certain detachments. Recon detachment, a natural home for Catachans. You've then got the stratagem, such as scrambler fields. You could go 90 inches forward and then be like, and this could happen very early on, and be like, bang, 1 CP, no deep striking within 12 inches for you, just screening out huge parts of the board. You might think, but Mordian, people can't deep strike turn 1. And I will say to you, a lot of factions can. Demons, Grey Knights. Very popular factions. Very, very capable of being able to do turn 1 deep strikes. Guard can do it as well, thanks to Bridgehead Detachment. Assault gives you more mobility. Mobility and movement wins games. Catachans are some of your fastest battle line infantry. Between the scout, between the assault, they can cover ground very quickly, and that opens up a lot of options in the battlefield. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox. Next up, we have got war gear abilities. Now, we touched upon the Master Vox earlier. It lets your officers do orders up to 24 inches away. You don't really need that in a Catachan squad leading a big blob of Catachans. And we talked about the regimental standard and how it gives you one objective control, but we probably already have enough objective control. The Medipack is the big one here. At the start of your command phase, if the bearer's unit is below its starting strength, you can return up to D3 destroyed platoon models, excluding characters, to this unit. So that means that you can add up to D3 Catachans back into the Catachan blob. On average, that's 2 guys each time you use the Medipack. That can make a big difference because it's in your command phase. So it could let you get a bit more objective control back into a unit. It could let you get above half strength so you don't have to take a battle shock test. Because remember, you take a battle shock test, I think it's at the end of your command phase. Because you do orders at the start of your command phase, then you do a battle shock test, because then you can lose your orders. So likewise, you could do an order on your squad, then heal it, then you'd be like, oh, I'm above half strength, don't have to take a battle shock test now. And generally speaking, it's just good to be able to add guys back into squads. You could be adding a couple of lasguns back in, you might be adding a couple of flamers back in, some voxcasters from the main squad. 3 men is 3 men, can't complain. But let's talk about that big Catachan blob for a moment. One of the big issues that Catachan squads have had in the past, not command squads, but we're talking the battle line infantry version, has been a lack of firepower, a lack of orders, and a lack of durability. And in many ways, the command squad fixes all of those problems. Because sure, the regular Catachan squad can only get 4 flamers, but when you add in the command squad, you've got a plasma gun, a plasma pistol, a grenade launcher, and a melter gun in there. Now, that's not going to be enough firepower to assault the Gates of Terror itself, but it is going to be enough firepower to be a legitimate threat to monsters and vehicles. You're not going to kill them single-handedly on your own, but let's say you've got your own main damage dealers like your battle tanks, your Rogal Dawners, Gleam Rusters. They do a whole bunch of firepower. Maybe they bring an enemy vehicle down to 2, 3, 4 wounds. In the past, you would try and finish off those last wounds with your Catachan squad, but the reality was you were unlikely to do anything, fishing for 6s to wound and all that. Now it's like, okay, well, I've got 4 special weapons. If we include the plasma pistol, I've got 4 shots with decent AP, decent strength, decent damage. I can actually finish off those big assets, those large, threatening, priority things that we want to get rid of. So we've got a bit more firepower in there, which gives us more tools in our toolbox, more tactical flexibility, something I've been really hammering home this episode. Also a lack of orders. One of the issues is that Catachan squads, they didn't have a lot of orders available to them. Sure, you could have like Strachan and stuff, but he could only do his orders within 6 inches. He's now not part of the codex anymore. F in the chat. Now it's just a case of Catachans and Catachan command squads, they just go together very naturally. They just fit, they just work. And you're not having to rely upon unique characters that can only be in one place at one time, and you're not having to rely upon orders from other command squads for the Catachans. Nope. They're pretty order independent now. It's fantastic. And lastly, we're talking about that durability. Well, if you're bringing officers along, it means that you can have take cover. That gives you an extra save. Or you've just got the fact that you've got the Medipack. Add in a couple of guys in. Now, it's not going to make your Catachans suddenly able to tank Titans, but it's an extra bit of durability. It's an extra bit of firepower. It's an extra bit of orders. All of these things just add up to really solving a lot of the holes, filling in a lot of the holes that Catachans had. And looking at them in comparison to where they were in the Index, to where they are in the Codex, I think they have really maintained their status as one of the best, if not the go-to infantry choice for a lot of guard commanders. Of course, all of that is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Are you a big fan of the Catachan command squad? Do you think it solves a lot of Catachan problems? Or Do you think it's not quite doing enough? And other command squads and other infantry choices are now the go-to. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.